Hello everyone, just to make a quick video. Today we're going to talk about completing the square method. So this is still talking about how to turn a quadratic function into its quadratic vertex form using the completing the square method. A while ago we were using h and k. Now we are going to use the completing the square method. So to do the completing the square method, here's our example. Our first step is to group the two terms, which is x squared and 4x. So we group the first two terms of the quadratic equation. So in this case, it's x squared and 4x. So group them together into parentheses. You get x squared plus 4x. Then the plus 10, the constant, you put that outside the parentheses, and that's still going to retain its sign. Okay, so after that, we find the new constant. So we have to complete this and make this a perfect square trinomial. So in order to do that, we again do the coefficient of x over 2 squared. So in this case, we're going to do this thing, the b over 2 squared. So in the b is the coefficient of x, which is the number beside the x. So in here, number beside the x is 4. So we do that, and we get 4 over 2. Substitutes the values, you get a squared. So 4 over 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So we do that. Y is equal. We put the thing here. We get an equals 4 after that. We get the 4 there. So after you get, this is your new constant. After you get your new constant, you add it inside the parentheses as such. 4x plus 4. I added it inside the parentheses. Then plus 10. Then after you added it in the parentheses, you subtract it outside the parentheses. So here plus 10, then you minus 4. Because usually it's two sides of the equation, right? It's going to be like plus 4 here, then plus 4 here. But because this is only one side, so you have to add it inside the parentheses, then subtract it outside the parentheses. Such, then after that, you simplify the parentheses. This is already a perfect square, so x, so all you're going to have to do to simplify that is x, the square root of x squared, which is x, the square root of 4, which is 2. Then the sign will be the sign of the middle, which is a positive in this case, so it becomes a positive. Then squared, then 10, positive 10 minus 4 is positive 6. And there you go. This is your vertex form of this quadratic function. Now to find the values of h and k, all you have to remember is this is your h, the number inside the variable, inside the parentheses, and this is your k, the number outside the parentheses. So here, the rule for h is whatever the sign is here inside the parentheses. So in this case, it's positive 2. You need to just what do you call this? Switch their signs. So this h, this positive 2 will become negative 2. Because if you substitute it to the solution, the formula of vertex form is equals ax minus h squared plus k. So you just have to substitute the value to, basta, never mind, just that's the rule already. If your value of h will always revert, the signs will always switch. So if this is a positive, it becomes a negative. If this is a negative, it becomes a positive. So here, but in k, whatever is outside the parentheses is actually what you just write. So if ever this is a negative 6, you just write negative 6. If this is a positive 6, you write 6. So whatever the sign of the outside number, that's what you're going to write as the value of k. Then whatever is the sign of inside the parentheses, you just revert the sign or switch the sign, it becomes, like that. So this is a positive 2, it becomes a negative 2. That'll be your value of h and k. Okay, so next example. So the next example is what if our leading coefficient is a negative. Okay, so in this case, we just do the same thing. We just group the first two terms, which is x, the x squared and the x. We group them together. So it becomes, you do that first. X squared plus 5x oop, oop, minus 3. So that's what it is. I just grouped the x squared and the x. Now, what if there's a negative? You can't have a negative x squared. So what you're going to do is to factor out the negative out of there. So you just put out the negative sign. Then after that, after you put out the negative sign, you multiply the negative sign over on what is inside the parentheses. So negative times negative x squared is positive x squared. Then negative times positive 5x, it becomes a negative 5x. Because negative times a positive is a negative. Then that's it, just rewrite the 3. Then just do what you have done in the first example. So comes x squared minus 5x. 5 divided by 2 is 5 halves. You can't really do anything about that. So 5 halves squared is 25 over 4. Get plus 25 over 4. This is what I did So it's like b over 2 again. 5 2 because you can't simplify that. You just square it. So 5 squared times 5 squared. 5 over 2 times 5 over 2 is equal to 25 over 4. Yeah, just 5 times 5, 2 times 2. That. And then after you add the new constant inside the parentheses, you just subtract it to to this thing. Oops, wait, almost forgot. Because this is because you have a negative exponent there, your new constant will also be multiplied to a negative. So you will have a 25 over 4 right there. Yeah, because if you're wondering where this negative came from, it's from this. Because if you added it to this, that's the rule. So that's the rule. How do I explain this? Because we're not adding it on different sides. You're just adding it in one side. So that's the rule there. If there's a negative, whatever happens in here also happens in your new constant over here. That's the rule. So we just simplify the expression. Negative square root of x and square root of 25 over 4 is 5 halves. Oops. Square root of 25 over 4 is 5 halves. The sign in the middle is negative, so it becomes a negative. That. Then you have what do you call this? Squared. Then how about this? You just have to subtract these two. So minus negative times negative, distribute the negative first, negative times negative, it becomes a negative 3 plus 25 over 4. Why did it become plus? Because negative times negative is 25 over 4. So in order to add this, you make this a fraction, this negative 3. So it becomes a negative 3 over 1 plus 25 over 4. But because this is dissimilar fractions, you have to again make it a similar fraction. So we're going back to like grade 4th grade. And that. Find the GCF of 4 and 1. Because it's a 1, you just have to multiply it. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's their LCD. Then 4 times, let's rewrite it. Basta, it's 4 divided by 1 times 3 is negative 3. 4 divided by negative 1 is 4 divided by 1 is 4 times negative 3 is positive 12, negative 12 plus, because it was addition a while ago, plus 4 divided by 4 is 1 times 25 is 25. You just simplify the ones on above. Negative 12 plus 25 is positive 13. Yeah, 13 over 4. And that's what it is. That's it. Your k is positive 13 over 4. There you go. And that's it. Your values of h is equal to positive 5 over 12. Then your k is equal to 13 over 4. So if you're wondering if fractions can happen, yes, fractions can happen. And this is the answer to that over here. That's it. Thank you. Goodbye.